Another returning resident killed in Jamaica. This is Undiluted News. Mikey Bones reporting. Let's start in the United States, though. As the Republican firebrand politician acquires greater clout and influence in Congress, Republican Marjorie Taylor Greene is once more advocating for a national divorce that would divide the U.S. into red and blue states. This is not the first time that the 48-year-old politician has advocated for a national divorce scenario in which Republicans and Democrats would control different parts of the country. She tweeted about it in December of 2021 and said that anyone who moved from blue to red states should be temporarily disqualified from voting. Greene's provocative remarks, like comparing mass mandates to the Holocaust and her previous support for a slew of conspiracy theories like QAnon, have sparked outrage among congressional colleagues. House Democrats stripped committee assignments from the Georgia Republican in 2021 after it was reported she had supported executing top Democrats on her personal Facebook page before being elected. Greene is not the only Republican to advocate for independence in some form, and there are signs that sentiment has risen since the 2020 elections. According to a Bright Light Watch and YouGov poll conducted in June of 2021, 66% of Southern Republicans were in favor of quitting the United States and establishing a new nation. And this nitwit now sits on both the House Oversight and Homeland Security committees. Yes, people, you heard right. He sits on the Homeland Securities Committee. The administration of the Mona campus of the University of the West Indies is now appealing for calm among students of Mary Seacole Hall and Chancellor Hall who were agitated over an incident on Sunday. The student protested Sunday night, calling for the removal of the Student Service and Development Manager of Mary Seacole Hall, Dr. Nadine Spence. Campus Registrar Dr. Donovan Stanberry said that the allegations are that there was an altercation involving Dr. Spence and residents of Chancellor Hall during a sports day on Sunday. Speculation or news on the ground is that outsiders came on the compound and gave support to the manager. We did not get any reports of anyone being injured, but it is alleged that that might be the case. Following the Director of Corruption Prosecution's decision that no charges should be brought against the Prime Minister, National Integrity Action has questioned whether the Director of Investigation owes Prime Minister Andrew Holness an apology. According to Professor Trevor Monroe, Principal Director of the NIA, the Director of Investigation is required by law to make a public announcement regarding the exoneration of an excused person when the Director of Corruption Prosecution determines that there is insufficient evidence to support the filing of charges. The issue then becomes whether the Director of Investigation ought to extend an apology to the Prime Minister, according to Professor Monroe. Meanwhile, St. Elizabeth seemed to be breeding hold-up gunmen these days, as gunmen held up and robbed a haberdashery of an undetermined sum of money in St. Elizabeth yesterday morning. The incident occurred about 9:30 on Coke Drive, and it's reported that two men entered the establishment brandishing firearms and demanding money. The cash was handed over, and the men then escaped. On Saturday, a Chinese supermarket operator was shot and injured on the Ballards Valley Main Road in St. Elizabeth by men who also stole a bag containing approximately $1 million. The recent assault on a student at Denhamtown High School is being looked into by the Kingston Western Police as a likely result of rival gangsters from Tivoli Gardens and Denhamtown. The abused student is claimed to be from Denhamtown, while the two students who are accused of carrying it out are said to have an address in Tivoli Gardens. The Kingston Western Police Division's commanding officer, Senior Superintendent Michael Phillips, said that police are looking for further pupils who may have been engaged in the event. Two of the boys who were captured on camera during the assault have now been taken into custody and charged. Meanwhile, a 42-year-old welder was shot dead during a brazen attack by gunmen at his home in Quarry Hill in Spanish Town in St. Catherine yesterday morning. He has been identified as Damian Smith, otherwise Kemar, a resident of Sunrise Avenue in Quarry Hill. Police have not yet established a motive for that attack, but it is said that shortly before midday, Smith was at home when he was pounced upon by gunmen who opened fire, hitting him all over the body. The men then fled the scene on foot. He was assisted to the Spanish Town Hospital, where he was pronounced dead. Meanwhile, a Westmoreland teen was shot and injured after accompanying his friend to his house at Farm District in the parish on Sunday afternoon. Reports are that the 16-year-old student was at a football field when he was approached by a male friend who invited him home. On arrival, the teen and his friend entered the house when the friend took a firearm from a chest of drawers. He removed the clip, pointed it at him, and squeezed the trigger. The teen got shot, ran from the house, raised an alarm, and was taken to the Savlamar Hospital, where he was admitted. And as the killing continues, a returning elderly resident was killed in Sligoville in St. Catherine. and it said the returning resident built a plaza and a large home trying to develop the area. But as usual, a corner boy wanted to demand money from the man, and he refused, offered him to work instead. And it is said that the corner boy hit the foreigner with a stone and stabbed him several times, killing him. People in the area is said to have chased after the killer, but he managed to escape. But the citizens waited for him all night, and when he was spotted, he was cornered by residents who carried out jungle justice, killing the murderer and setting him on fire. Returning residents, I keep saying it, stay where una dey and leave Jamaica alone. A shooting which occurred on the north-south highway on Sunday has left one man dead and four others in hospital. According to reports, five people were leaving an event at about 5:40 p.m. in a Nissan car when they were intercepted by three vehicles whose occupants opened fire before fleeing the scene. The vehicles injured a driver tried to flee the scene to seek medical help but lost control and the car crashed into a ravine close to Caymanas Gardens in St. Catherine. The car's passengers were helped to hospital where three of them were found with gunshot wounds and a man identified as Dada died. Onto sports, the Portland Football Association secured $1.8 million from Member of Parliament MP Anne-Marie Vaz to run the Portland's Women's League during a launch at the FA's boardroom on Friday. The competition got going with two games at Carter Park and Fair Prospect also on the same day. Premier League Arnett Gardens cut Mount Pleasant FA lead in the Jamaica Premier League to 2 points after beating Portmore 2-1 at Ferdinand Park in Portmore, St. Catherine on Sunday, and it was Arnett Gardens' first win over Portmore this season after they had drawn 1-1 in the first round, and it saw them improve to 30 points from 15 games, which is just two behind Mount Pleasant, who played out a 0-0 draw against defending champions Harborview at Draxall in St. Anne. Meanwhile, Humber Lions moved to 27 points after they beat Mullines United 2-1 at Everettsville to avenge their 3-2 loss in the first round, while Dunbeholden FC snapped a three-game losing skid with an action-packed 3-2 win over Falkland FC. Waterhouse FC avenged their first round loss to Montego Bay United, beating them 3-0. And last night Cavalier edged Vere United 1-0 to move into second place. Cellar Dwellers Chapelton Maroons beat Tivoli Gardens 2-0 to move to 6 points. So the top six standings are Mount Pleasant lead with 32 points, Arnett in second with 30, Cavaliers on 29 points, Humber Lions 27, Harborview 23, Dunbeholden 22 round out the top six. And if you ever miss the news on this radio station, please go to YouTube and type in Jamaican Undiluted News. Listen, like, share, and subscribe, and keep this channel going. That's news and sports on your favorite community radio. My name is Mikey Bones. I gone.